Hey, everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here, as always, by my partner in crime, Sam Schneider of Primetime Sports Talk. And before we go any further, we need to. We had a special request. Sam will tell you about the longer whistle victory horn blow. So we've now.
Yeah, that's for my buddy Matt, aka Neighbor Hood, who actually asked us to blow the horn a little bit longer on our winning videos.
There you go. This was listen, it wasn't pretty today, but it's a W. And they knew, we had all heard before the game that Zach told the team, listen, guys, you win today and we could be in first place on the plane flight home of the North. And that's exactly what occurred. So just like I said, it had its moments. It was an ugly game, but you know what? It's a W and we'll take it. After two ugly losses where we've outplayed the Niners and the Chargers, it was nice to grab this one. And the North is in our grasp. So
I think it's okay to have an ugly game. I mean, It's football, right? It's football. So when your defense only allows 10 points over 4 quarters, that's pretty good to me.
Yeah. No. It's like I said, would have liked to have had more points. I said if we could just put 24 points up, I thought that was more than Denver's offense could muster. So, and then we would have been a little more relaxed at the end of the game instead of kind of on the edge of our seat. But still a good W. Before we get started, please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, that's all we ask. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, get some alerts. And Sam, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Also, comment down below, baby, so we can respond to you.
Yes.
Comment down below. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Twitter at Buy and Sell You. I write for Primetime Sports Talk. You can find us at primetimesportstalk.com or on Twitter at Talk Primetime.
There you go. So, we had just some quick news. Hendrickson did start, which was great. We had the back injury. We didn't know when we were doing our preview whether he was in or out. Fred Johnson wound up starting at right tackle. He had his moments. He did an adequate job. That's what I'm going to go with. And then Awuzie is out because of his hamstring. He's off the COVID list, but he didn't play today because of his hammy. So hopefully we have him back next week. But we'll do like we always do. We're going to talk about the bad, and then we're going to talk about the good, and we'll just jump right into it. Like I said, it was an ugly start. We actually had a decent first possession and drove down the field and moved the ball passing, and then we kind of got away from passing and tried to run the ball against a team that's very good against the run.
Right.
So I was kind of wondering, after that, we had one third down conversion in the first half, and then occurred on that first possession when we went up 3-0. So other than that, we kind of got away. I would have liked to have seen a little more creative play calling, but I'm not going to complain too much because once again, we did get away with the W. We got the ball on our third possession. We got the ball on like the 42-yard line. If we could have just mustered a first down, that would have led to points. That was kind of frustrating to get the ball at the 42 and end up punting it away. Lots of punts. I think Denver had like 5 punts in the first half, which is a tribute to our defense.
Yeah, each team in this game just punted like crazy.
Right.
Which doesn't make for exciting football, but it did culminate in a pretty exciting game at the end.
Yeah. And we, like I said, both coaches were very conservative. They both realized that, that this was going to be trying to keep it a 1 possession game, especially on Denver's side. And I thought in the first half, I don't know what your opinion was in this, but I thought Burrow was holding the ball way too long. I was kind of hoping for plays where it was 1, 2, 3, it's out. knowing that, knowing what we had on the offensive line, that we had, Fred Johnson in there and whatnot. I kind of expected a scheme that was going to be more like that, where Burrow didn't hold the ball. He had some really well-timed runs, but I thought overall he held the ball too long. I didn't like the way we did our play calling in terms of not designing plays to get the ball out of his hand quickly. So,
well, I've complained about that for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks.
Right.
That Burrow holds the ball too long, and I get blasted for it in the comments,
Right.
Because everybody says that he can do no wrong. But I did like the play calls of, having him roll out, having him do runs up the middle, like quarterback keepers, that were obviously called plays. So I appreciate that, but I do agree with you that he has to recognize your right tackle's gone.
Right.
Like your normal right tackle's gone. You got to do something. And your right guard left during this game. Adeniji left, and Carmen came in,
Right.
and Carmen played very, very well.
Yes, he did. I was very pleased to see that.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. He was definitely holding the ball too long. That's been kind of a thing this year. It's just one of those things where I say it every week. This isn't college anymore. It's not college anymore. These are not college players coming at you. So you need to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, he did have that one rollout. It was called back by penalty, where he was able to it turned into a backyard play, and he was able to hit Chase way down the field.
But, it was awesome.
But the play didn't stand because of a penalty. We did have a couple penalties that drove me nuts. One of them was we had a chance to get the ball back with like 2 minutes left, and we committed an offsides. And ended up making a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 1, and they converted, ate up more clock. It ultimately didn't cost us the field goal because we did get the ball, a big pass to Boyd, and all of a sudden you trot out Evan Almighty, and we did get the field goal. But if we had gotten the ball back with 2 minutes, who's to say that's not a touchdown? We've made a lot of hay in the last 2 minutes of the half, and I really kind of wanted to see that. So that kind of pissed me off, that taking a 3rd and 6 to a 3rd and 1 when you're playing a team that struggles when it's more than 3rd and 5. So that was kind of a bunk. And then the Eli Apple pass interference call, I thought that was BS. I mean, that was so that contact it was so nothing. There was no jersey sweat. It was a little bit of the hand on the waist, and then he pulled it away. And I just thought that was a real ticky-tack call. You could have called that all day on Patrick Surtain, and they never did. So,
Yeah, I think even on that play, I think it could have been called either way.
Right.
It could have been offensive as well. Right. It's just, I guess it's the old, adage of, they don't see who strikes first, they see who strikes second. And that's what it felt like to me. Like, Eli did one thing, the other guy did another thing, or vice versa, rather. And so they called it on Apple, when in fact it very, very well could have been offensive interference.
It should have just been a no call. Yeah, and most of the time that's a no call. So I was like, if you're going to call the game that way, call it that way all across the board, or don't. That should have been, I thought that was one that should not have been there. Last couple things, because I don't want to harp too much on the bad, because there was a lot of, like I said, the first, say 2.5 quarters, we were in this defensive struggle. So there was a lot of there was a lot on both sides stopping themselves. The Khalid Kareem got hurt on his fumble recovery return, right, which turned out he was down by contact, so he didn't even need to be running downfield. But it was a shame because he was playing really good up until the point, and that was a great. He just picked Locke's pocket. I mean, that was a great. I mean, they were driving to get a score, so that was big. And then the other thing was Wayne's got completely burned. What we talked about, how he hasn't been out there enough. He did have his moments where he played well today, but there were two plays in particular. Obviously the touchdown that he gave up to Patrick, he had position. It looked like he was going to make a play, and then just Patrick kind of undercuts him. And it looked like offensive PI, but it wasn't. He made no contact with Wayne's. That was one where he got burned. And then Wayne's had a chance to make a tackle on Williams at the 1 yard line for like a huge loss when Denver was starting inside their 5, and then missed the tackle. So hopefully that stuff he can clean up. It was good to see him back, though, because with the Awuzie's hammy and all that, we need all the DB bodies we have, especially when we're light at linebacker.
Yeah, I think overall, my grade for Wayne's today would be in the high B's. I think he did well. He did get burned, but we know he's rusty.
Right.
You know what I mean? We know he's been hurt. But overall, he had a lot of really, really good coverage today. So
Right.
I was, obviously not thrilled, but I was very satisfied
Right.
with his performance.
Right. Well, like I said, he's got a shot. You want to put all the naysayers. No one's going to talk about missing last year. No one's going to talk about we have a huge game coming up. We have, possible playoff games. Make your statement late in the season. All will be forgiven. I mean, we'll have very short memories in terms of, it's the what have you done for me lately? If he does something really big next week against Baltimore, and we finish out this year strong, then make the playoffs, and who knows what happens in the postseason, all will be forgiven with Wayne. So
Sure.
That's all I have on the negative. Like I said, I talked about only having 1 third down conversion in the first half. And then I just want to transition to the good. If you've got any other negative you want to talk about, or
no. Let's go. Let's
to the good. All right. So first thing, Evan Almighty. Come on, man. 58-yarder, new record for the Bengals on field. Oh, he was money. He was money. I mean, our first 3 scores, I would have liked them to at least get in the end zone once, but I'll take the 9 points. Points were a premium. When you have a 15-10 game, this is why I never understand. I looked at watching the Cardinals earlier today when they lost to Detroit. They had a chance. I know it was only 3 points, but you're down 14-0. Make it 14-3. It's so deflating to not get points when you drive downfield that sometimes it's not about, we got to get a touchdown. It's about keeping the good feeling and the momentum going. I thought, Arizona should have taken that field goal early on. Today, I was happy that we took the 3 points because, like I said, in a 15-10 game, all those field goals matter. They're huge.
What I think is amazing is that there are still Bengals fans out there that are annoyed that we took a kicker in the draft. And I'm like, dude, we haven't had a good kicker in so long. So what are the chances that a guy we sign off the street are going to hit a 53-yarder and a 58-yarder?
Right.
I mean, the chances are minimal at best.
Right.
So I'm really, really glad to have Evan on the squad.
Oh, that's no question. He's was a great use of a 5th round pick. He's been everything we wanted. We have our kicker of the future. It's I can't think back. I think Jim Breach was the last kicker we used to run out that I felt really good about. Breach was money.
Right. Well, it would have been Jake Elliott before Marvin put him on the practice squad. Let him go to Philadelphia.
Yeah. And he's kicking 50-yarders for them. But I actually like Evan more than Elliott, but we wouldn't have drafted Evan if we still had Elliott. But I agree with you. Yeah, we did make the kicker a draft pick. We had him, and for some reason Marvin kept Bullock. So, and that's why one of the many reasons why Marvin's not there anymore. So, but Evan Almighty,
and Marvin. Let's just put it to bed. Marvin kept a lot of old guys because he was an old guy. So
Right.
he kept all the guys that had been there with him the whole time, the veterans, instead of actually looking to youth, which is exactly what Zach Taylor has done.
Right.
Zach Taylor has said, we're going young. Let's go. Hey, Mark, do you know what the average age of this team is?
I don't know what the average age is, but I do know we're the fourth youngest team in the
It's the fourth youngest team in the NFL.
Yeah. We have, I went and I looked at the rosters. I've talked about how we've turned this roster over. There are 5 Bengals on this roster that were on the Marvin Lewis team. Can you name those 5 Bengals?
I could, but you're putting me on the spot.
It's Mixon.
It's Clark Harris.
No, it's Mixon, Boyd. Yes, Harris, Evans,
Clark Harris, yeah.
Clark Harris, Evans, and there's one other that that's on the roster. I can't, and it slips my mind, but there are 5 Bengals. I went through the roster to see who was. Oh, I know who it is. It's CJ Uzomah.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Well,
so there's your
sense.
5. Other than those 5 guys, this is a whole new roster.
Yeah.
So when we talk about it being the young team and all that, Zach, it took him a couple years, but he literally turned this entire roster over.
That's correct. And now look at him. He's got 8 wins. He's got 8 wins after a 3-win season. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no. Like I said, so this when we talk about this team not being tied to the past Bengal teams, this is what we're talking about, because there's most of these guys in the locker room don't know anything about our playoff utility, all that. They don't know anything about that. They're looking straight to the future, and that's not even in their brain. So that's kind of the makeup. I want people to understand that's why this is a new day. It really is.
Well, and it's encouraging, because if we actually make the playoffs, there's not that lingering feeling of the extra I don't know, impetus to win because you're in the playoffs, because these guys, they haven't been there. They haven't been there.
And none of them were on the roster in 2015 during the meltdown. So they don't have any recollection of that. That's pre-Boyd. That's pre-Mixon. That's obviously, it's Jeremy Hill was a fumbler. So, but so you have none of those guys are even part of that squad. So that's when we're talking about a young team. This is what we're talking about. This was literally almost an entire roster turnover. Have to say this. Eli Apple breaking up that touchdown in the first half. I said, oh my gosh, Eli Apple, it's been a difference. And I don't know if the flip switched in his head, but I complained a lot that he went and he committed penalties before he would try to make a football play. But when you watch him break up that pass, that's exactly what we were asking for. Go make a play on the ball. Don't commit a penalty on the guy. Play football. And he did today. He knocked that ball out. It was great.
It's been like 3 or 4 straight weeks now that Eli Apple is actually playing really good football. Right. And that's really, really exciting. Right. And we needed it with Awuzie out.
Right.
And Wayne's coming back, but being a little bit rusty. We really needed Eli to step up, and he did today.
Right. No, he absolutely did. And it's one of those things to where now I'm really happy about the Apple signing, and Anarumo schemed it right, because most of the plays today, when Eli Apple was in single coverage, he knew he had Bates coming over. They showed on plays where Bates was breaking up to support Apple and the double coverage at the top of the screen. I think he covered Cortland Sutton most of the day, but
yes, he did.
But that was it. So, but it was nice to see Anarumo, because I think Eli can then play football knowing he's got Bates on the back end of that. That helps him out a lot too. So kudos to Anarumo also, because I thought we did a really good job overall. We did a pretty good job of shutting down their running game. Williams did have a couple plays where he's a bruising running back. They hit a home run with him, drafting him this year he's a running absolutely. Back. He looks like he makes so many yards after contact. He's tough to bring down. But I thought overall we did a pretty good job on him today. I was pleased with Anarumo's scheme.
I agree. And overall, I think the defensive backfield just played well as a whole. I think Mike Hilton played really, really well today. Like we were talking about with Apple, I think he played great. I think Trey Waynes looked a little rusty, but overall still played pretty well. And all of that is encouraging. And let's not, gloss over the fact that our defensive line was in the backfield of Denver all day long. I mean,
Right.
all day long, even when they did complete passes and did get off good runs. We were back there the whole
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah. No, we pressured Bridgewater and then Locke later. Before I forget to say it, we all want Teddy Bridgewater to be okay. There was really no hit on that play because we lost one of our linebackers who went low, but Bridgewater hurdles him. So there was no contact there.
Right.
He hurts his knee. And then Bridgewater gets a little bit hit, but it's the shoulder and the way his head hit the ground. That was the issue. There was no dirty hit there, but we all want, there's the last thing we wanted. I love Bridgewater at Louisville. He's a high character guy. So I'm hoping that Bridgewater is fine and it's nothing long-term, but we pressured him all day.
No, I don't think anybody wants to wish for injury. So, we wish him the best. And he's, Bridgewater's been around the league a while. Yeah. And he's had a lot of injuries. So I wish only the best for him. I want to jump on something that you just said. You mentioned the linebackers, and without Akeem Davis Gaither and without Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt showed up today.
Yes.
I mean, he's been showing up all season, but today, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy.
He played well, and he played well in coverage too. The when he wasn't covering Fant got completions, but he did a pretty good job on Fant for most of the day. And then obviously we had Marcus Bailey back, which was I think we probably rushed him back because we were so lean, but he had some decent moments today. So,
I love Marcus too. So I mean, most teams at this point play a 5-2-5 or a 5-2-4, excuse me. And so there's usually only two linebackers on the field. So Logan and Gaither were like the only two guys out there,
right?
Unless we were stacking the box.
For Pratt and Gaither.
So having Pratt and Marcus Bailey out there today was really, really impressive. You know what I mean? And Pratt, I mean, I don't know the stats in front of me, but if I had to guess, I'd say Pratt had 10 tackles.
10 tackles. I have the stats right here. So let's go to them. Marcus Bailey had 5. Jermaine Pratt had 9 solos. 15,
there you go.
15 tackles. So
there you go.
He was our star today on there's no question.
There you go. He was unreal.
Those are Ray Lewis kind of numbers. We have individual defensive guys in our fantasy league. I'm in a dynasty league on steroids, and so I track that stuff. And I never ever had linebackers on Baltimore because Ray Lewis would have like 18 of the tackles, so it was like there's nobody else scoring,
right?
And when you see 15 total and 9 solos, those are Ray Lewis kind of numbers.
I'm telling you, I just feel like every time I turned around, it was Jermaine Pratt, Pratt. Right. Jermaine Pratt. Like the announcers just kept saying his name. And I was like, man, he's having a great game. And I really like this guy. It took him a little while to come into his own, but he's been playing just unbelievably this season.
Yeah, we were able to escape today with the win with resting Logan Wilson, with not putting a Awuzie in there. So we'll get another week of rest on them. So hopefully we're getting healthy, because we're getting into these last 3 games, and next week, I mean, it's huge in terms of that's
enormous.
This is, and that Baltimore is going to come out guns a blazing, whether it's Lamar or Huntley. Huntley put up 30 on Green Bay today. So well, this isn't we're going to win because Lamar's not playing. We don't know that. So let's go on. A couple more things I had. First of all, Boyd makes a really that Sammy Perrine run when we're driving. We ultimately end up getting a field goal on the drive, and that's the first drive of the second half. But Boyd has a big block that really springs that. And then the other thing was, so we get the field goal. We get drive on that drive in the third quarter. We only had 4 first downs in the whole first half. We had 4 first downs just on that drive. So it kind of was a big thing to show, hey, we could move the ball down the field. So I really like that. When we give up the score, that Trey Wayans, misses, and we end up giving the score up to Patrick. We had a great answer. Burrow hits Boyd on that long ball. And the only thing bad I can say about that bribe is that Boyd doesn't hold on to the 2-point conversion, because it hits him right there. I mean, that was there for the taking. We could have been up 7 and breathed a little sigh of relief. That's the thing. You're getting towards the end of the game. Denver did what they wanted. They kept it to a 1-score game. So, if something had happened, we could have lost the game because we were only up by 5. So would have been nice to get that 2-pointer. And then the Khalid Kareem strip of Locke. Oh my gosh, he just picked his pocket. And I think
overall, Samaje Perine played well.
Right.
If sparingly, obviously Mixon hit the bench for a little bit. But overall, when he was in there, even before Mixon was out, Samaje played pretty well in his absence. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he did a good job today. And I would guess that against Denver, their front 7 is so good.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say he got 5 yards of carry or something like that.
7.5. 4 for 30. 4 carries for 30 yards.
There you go.
So they were very timely. He had the longest run of the day, I believe. That 22-yard run that he ripped off was the long run of the day, which that was the big one with the
Boyd block and all
that. Yeah. So Mixon was 17 for 58, but and here's the kicker. I had this on my list here, and this isn't about the design runs. This was about Joe sensing the pocket when he saw the middle of the field open and he only needed 3 or 4 yards. Very timely runs, usually to get a first down. So it was 5 carries for 25 yards, but those were a big 5 carries. They really were, because think about it. We're in a 3rd and 4. He scrambles around. We keep the sticks moving. It was a field position game that was important, and I was really pleased that Joe played, and I talked about this all the time, situational football. Hey, don't throw the ball 25 yards when you need 3 and you can run for 8, right? Let's get the 8, let's move the sticks, and we'll set up another scenario where you can throw it 25 yards. But situational football was really the theme today, because our defense got off the field a lot of the times in the situations they needed. And like I said, Joe's timely running, situational football. I mean, that's how you win these ugly kind of games.
Yeah. And I think it's worth mentioning also that, we slagged Joe Burrow early for holding on to the ball too long. Although I do want to mention that I really thought that a lot of times when he came to the line of scrimmage and changed up the play, it was almost Peyton Manning-esque.
Right.
You know what I mean? He came up and it's like it didn't even come in from the sideline. He just came in and said, "Yeah, we're changing this right now." And it was good. A lot of times it resulted in a great play, whether it was a run or a pass or anything else. And that's really exciting to see from a second year player.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that really kind of thrilled me. He looked like a veteran out there, even though, like we said, He had some issues early in the game, but gosh, I don't feel like we're ever out of the game when Joe Burrow
No.
is under center.
Well, that's the whole feeling in Cincinnati now is I mean, look how bright our future is because we know who our captain is, who's leading the ship. So, and you know what? There were two passes today. You know, there was the one rollout where we missed the block and Justin Simmons takes out Burrow. And that was we had just got the first down. And then all of a sudden we're in like a 2nd and 21 after that play. And that kind of killed that drive against this defense. But then there was a play later on where he's in trouble. He rolls out. He does kind of a pirouette to get out of the way and chucks the ball out of bounds. And Charles Davis said, that's the prettiest incomplete I've ever seen, because instead of taking like a 12-yard loss and getting drilled, he gets rid of the ball. It's like, live to play another down. It's like, so I think, you know, that he, you know, he talked about after the bye, about taking what the defense gives him and stuff. That's it. You know, when the defense gives you that escape hatch where you can dodge a huge negative play and just make it an incomplete. And I remember Charles Davis saying that's the prettiest incomplete pass Joe Burrow's thrown all day, because
I've been begging for this for weeks. Right. I'm like, Joe, just get rid of the ball. Just chuck it out of bounds, dude. Chuck it out, or chuck it at somebody's feet or something. And when he did that, I almost jumped out of the chair and started clapping.
Yeah,
I was so excited.
Yeah, no,
instead of trying to force it, don't try to force it.
And that's part of situational football. I mean, understand the situation, live to play another down. Don't take the 8 or the 10 or the 12-yard loss. And we did that today. So overall, guys, King of the North, they're on the flight home. Harbaugh went for 2 again, failed. They lost the game to Green Bay. And I'm not bashing Harbaugh for going for 2, because I think if I was facing Aaron Rodgers in a game where he put up 31 on us, I wouldn't want to go into overtime against Aaron Rodgers. So
me neither.
So I understand him going for 2, you know, both times. And I know he was lean on DBs. So
I'm glad he didn't get it.
But King of the North. And even if Cleveland wins on, I think they're playing tomorrow. Even if Cleveland wins tomorrow, we're still
the NFL. Can I just say something real quick about that? Sure. It's total BS that the NFL moved the Cleveland and Washington games because of COVID. Because nobody else gets that. Nobody else has gotten that.
Right.
And they're just like, let's give them an extra day.
Right. Well, they did it for the Rams too, but yeah, that's
it's baloney.
Well, it's also, and don't think the NFL, I'm not saying that they're playing favorites with teams, but the NFL is a dollar-driven league, okay?
Well, I know that.
And here's what they created with a Thursday game, Friday game, Saturday game, or Sunday. I think there's so they basically, I think
now 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday.
Right. So, and this is all in this holiday crunch. So they literally made it to where they have the NFL on every day but Wednesday. Right. So don't think that wasn't in their mindset. Hey, we have an excuse where we can literally take over TV ratings, you know, for the next week. And this is what they did. So I don't know that it was as much about helping the teams as it was about TV. I think that was the big push.
Well, which don't get me wrong. I like having the NFL on every day.
Right.
I love it. So I'm not complaining about it so much, but when it's a team in your division that's, you know, having some issues and you're like, no, you play your game and figure it out.
And aren't they playing early? The Cleveland
5 o'clock.
No, but no, they're playing on Monday, but then their turnaround is like Friday or Saturday because they have to play the Packers. So this leads to, they have all this COVID, but then Saturday, they have another short week. So they're going to be playing Monday. So in a lot of ways, if you wanted to just lose this game and you would have had a better timeline, but it's all. Yeah.
Cleveland plays 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday. And then, I believe they play the Packers on Saturday.
Right. And I tweeted out right after the right after the Arizona loss to the Rams. I tweeted out that this was a great thing for the Bengals because what happened is it gave Green Bay the 1 seed. And now Green Bay has an incentive to keep the 1 seed. And don't think that Aaron Rodgers has absolutely no intention of giving that 1 seed up. He wants to be home for the playoffs. So guess what? Their game was against Baltimore today. Their games against Cleveland. They have huge incentive to win both of those. That could just aid us in getting the North crown. Because
and they're a far better team than both of those clubs.
Yeah. So and even if Cleveland wins tomorrow, we are still top of the division because it would be a 3-way tie. We have the best division record. So the head-to-head with Cleveland means nothing when you get to a 3-way tie. The head-to-head goes out the door and it's division record, which we're leading on. So even if Cleveland wins, we are still going to be the first place in the North, and we can solidify our position there by winning next Sunday.
Right.
Against the Ravens. This is the big game. We need to see the same effort we saw when we went to Baltimore. That's what this team needs to do. We know they're focused on their division games. This would be great. To sweep Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the same year would be huge. So that's what we're looking at. This is a great week. Like I said, Zach said to the team before the game, we could be in first place in the North flying home tonight, and that's exactly where they are. Hopefully they enjoy it. Burrow said in his presser, hey, we're going to savor this moment, but we know we've got a huge game next week. So they already know that everything is in front of them and in their control, and that's all you can ask for. So
that's right.
Big win this week. If you saw our preview, John Sharon actually liked the Bengals, but he said, I'm doing the reverse hex pick, and he took Denver today. So the reverse hex worked, John. So that's good work. You were also on Denver, but it wasn't a reverse.
I took Denver too.
Hey, take Baltimore next week and we'll win. I just want the W's. I want to
say no more.
Even. The big thing for me, I know that it's a young team, but if we can get to the postseason, this team can get experience in the postseason. So next season, it won't be their first taste of the postseason. Look at the progression of Buffalo and Josh Allen, and when they made the playoffs but lost in the first round to Kansas City, the next year they come back, they make the AFC Championship game. That's the kind of you want to see that kind of maturity, that kind of timeline, and that's why to me it's very big just getting to the postseason.
Well, I'll repeat what I said earlier again. We were talking about, this is not the same team. This is not your father's Bengals. This is not even our Bengals.
Right.
This is a much younger team that doesn't know any better. So if they actually make the postseason, I actually have, tremendous resolve that they'll actually win a playoff game.
Yeah,
I really believe that. I believe they'll buck the trend. I'm not guaranteeing they're going to make the playoffs this year, but it's a big deal.
No, this would be a huge thing. Like I said, just getting the taste of the postseason this year would we'd be so much farther ahead than I thought we were going to be. Like we were just shooting for a positive season coming in here. I thought we would I bet this over 6.5. Obviously we're there. I also bet that we would make the playoffs and win the North, but I was throwing, money, assuming we would make the 7 wins.
Sure.
But this would put us a lot farther down the learning curve if we were to make the postseason and get this young team, some postseason experience. So
there's something to be said for Joe Burrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You make the playoffs, you lose. You make the playoffs, you lose. You make the playoffs, you lose. Now you got Joe Burrow. He makes the playoffs. I'm like, all bets are off.
Yeah, no. We could be a very dangerous team with our offense and our ability to run the ball and the way our defense is playing. Obviously, health is going to play into it, but we get Wayans back, we get Awuzie back. This could be this could be a scary team that you don't want to see coming in.
That's right.
If you're one of these division winners, we're not a team you want.
And look at the defense today.
Yeah. So
goodness gracious.
Yeah. So it was a real positive day, guys. Enjoy this. Go watch football night in America. They're not going to have any bad things to say about us. We're top of the North, and the showdown's next week. It's Raven week, baby, and it's an important one. So
that's right.
We will be back as always with our preview this Thursday. I don't know if we want to do it earlier. Might want to do it on Wednesday since we have games on Thursday and Friday. I don't know. We'll think about it. But this week, that's why you need to subscribe and you need to hit the bell so you get the notification.
And comment down below,
that's right,
baby.
So you'll know because you will get the notification that our video's up. It'll be sometime before Christmas, before the end of the week. We will get it up, and then we'll have our recap. And hopefully, we are blowing. I'll even a longer blast on that victory horn. I'll do 3 breaths this time if we can beat the Ravens this week. So.
That's just for neighbor. Just for neighbor.
That was today, but I'm promising you 3 blasts if we beat the Ravens this week. So with that, I'm gonna say hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
All right, and King of the North, enjoy it. Take care.